Good morning and welcome to Shamanic Sundays. Hi, Dad.
Hey,
How you
welcome.
doing?
I'm working on waking up.
Okay. Well, thanks for waking up for us.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
We hope that we can, if you're joining us in the morning, we hope that we can help you wake up in a good way too. Whatever time and whatever time zone you are joining us in. Thank you for being here
Yeah.
as we share some of the teachings that you have garnered over the years and bring shamanic principles and nature's wisdom principles into practical tools that we can use on an ongoing basis. So, as we always do, starting with a bit of sacred reciprocity. So, before we ask, will you share a prayer?
Yes, I
Thanks.
will. And before I do that, I was noticing I reacted to the word garner. I said, I don't hear that very often. And it feels good to just say it, garner, something vibrationally about it. So, what it refers to is a good thing. And I was flashing on how it's connected with, it's close to garden, the word garden. And you garner from the garden of life, of creation, all the gifts of creation, which takes us into gratitude. So I'm going to do this gratitude prayer, giving back to the Creator for all the gifts of our lives with a chant. And I invite you to just allow and bring into your awareness what you feel thankful for on this day of being alive and in your body and here and now. Just noticing what you feel truly thankful for, not by anybody else's shoulds, but what you feel thankful for when you check inside to the truth of being alive in this moment and what you most value and your sense of where it comes from, and therefore gratitude to the source. So with this word from the Pomo Miwok culture that Brother Lanny Panola in the spirit world taught me many years ago, Yahweh. One more time, sending gratitude to what comes to us from above and what comes to us from below and what comes to us from each of the sacred directions and what comes to us and is us, in us, from the creative wisdom, power, energy of the universe that is in us and we're in. Sending out gratitude. Yahweh. Oh, gratitude to our ancestor spirits. We remember you here and all our loved ones in the spirit world. Ancestor spirits and peoples of the indigenous peoples of the land we live on. We remember you here. We honor you here. Thank you for the gift of life, of creation, of family, of community, of challenges that we can turn into when we wake up, to wise up, recognize as vehicles of opportunity to wake up, to wise up, and to live love now. This is the day we're given. May it be so. Healing of the sacred hoop. Oh, Omprios.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That was very loud. It was a different tone than you usually do that with. It definitely woke me up.
These are not usual times.
They are not usual times. Speaking of, so today is what's real, and this came to mind because yesterday I was, other than having read about this in the news, I'm the first real human that I know that's had this happen to them. I got a phone call that showed my mom's cell phone. So it was coming from my mom's cell phone, and her voice sobbing, like absolutely hysterically sobbing, and saying like, Kimmy, help me, and like totally crying as she's saying it. And so she's using my name, her voice, and she's saying she needs help. And then this man comes on the phone and he sounds perfectly normal, doesn't sound recorded. He sounds like he could be right down the street with my mom in the same room. And he says, I am with your mom. Can you sit down? So I'm like, oh my God, something horrible happened. And he wants to make sure I don't like pass out or something. So I'm like, I'm okay. I'm okay. Mom, are you okay? And then I hear her like start again in the back, Kimmy, help me. And I should say she's fine. But in the moment, I'm like, Mom, are you okay? And the guy says, I'm with your mom, and you need to do exactly what I say. And what came out of my mouth, pardon my language, if anyone is offended by this bad word coming up, but I was like, fuck you, you're a scammer, and I hung up. But of course, my heart is racing because there's like a little chance something that did happen with my mom is actually with her. So I call her back on her cell phone. She doesn't answer. And call my dad. And I'm, he's like, hi. And I'm like, are you with mom? And he's like, I just saw her a minute ago. I'm like, do you see her? Go see her right now. And so he's like, okay, what's going on? I'm like, just tell me you see her. And he like, I hear him walking and it's like, and then I'm like, okay, phew, I feel like the blood like rush out of my body, just like so much gratitude and relief. And then anger at this person who's using AI to pull my mom's voice from somewhere, was able to sleuth out that I have some relation with my name. And again, I had read about this, but I'm the first person that I know that this has actually happened to. And by the grace of luck, little bit of my intelligence, awareness of this kind of stuff, I was able to know that it was a scammer and tell him to fuck off and hang up. But how easy it would be for someone hearing their child or another family member screaming like that for help, to do whatever this person had said. When I told my mom, she was obviously really upset and had she done anything wrong? And no, she hadn't. And, and I said, she was like, this just makes me so mad. This needs to stop already. And I didn't say this in the moment, but really, unfortunately, it's just the beginning for at least a period of time that we are, until we really have evolve to a greater consciousness. And part of that being how do we use AI in a good, ethical, positive way, which I genuinely think we can. But for now, and this is a good part of it, I think it's only going to bring more awareness to the importance of what's real and what are lived experiences that are real. So that can be also taking it to the next level of what's real and what are the stories we're spinning about in our heads, in our minds, right? So I wanted to share that story both as a warning for everyone to just be so mindful of that possibility for that to happen to you as well. And then to ask, how do we know what's real? Really just in our minds and in our experience, and what are we, so many times we create stories that make things harder than they need to be, and things aren't challenging enough. We don't need to make any extra stories up. So if you could share some shamanic wisdom on that perspective, please.
On that perspective of what's real.
What is real? What is real lived experience? What are we making up, and how do we know what's real that can serve us or not?
Whatever we are making up, is it just in our minds or is it real? But expanded understanding is recognizing that statement. Is it just in our minds? That's all we have. That's all we have to experience is the awareness in our mind in the moment. And that exists in terms of an energy state. There's energy input through our different senses into our physical bodies, designed in certain ways to receive different wavelengths or vibrational levels of energy coming from, quote, nature, and visible and invisible, all those forces coming into us. It's all energy coming into us. And part of what happens in the human frontal frontal cortex, yeah, creates stories, creates images, and creates stories of that raw data of the energy. And so, in fact, we're co-creating with every breath of being alive. We're co-creating with the creative power of the universe, which is the raw data it's giving us, an image and then a story that we're creating. So we're creating our own experience of reality. We're not creating, well, there's no such thing as objective reality, because we know from science, when you set up an instrument to observe, and we have instruments to observe, you're collapsing the wave function of particles dancing in and out of existence. And you try to measure the distance, the rate of speed of its going, or its location, and you can't do both at once because it's in a superposition. It doesn't collapse into a manifestation that you perceive until you look at it. So we're co-creating. Every breath that comes in is fuel from the universe, the creative power of the universe. I was thinking this morning earlier and reading about that expression. I heard from childhood growing up in Eurocentric culture that we're made in God's image. We're made in God's image. And so what the hell does that even mean, man? And does that mean an old man with a white beard, a white dude with a white beard and a bathrobe and a throne and making decisions about what he's okay with and what he's not? And if he's not, he zaps you. And is that that doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work in terms of a kid or now. How we're made in God's image. So I always wondered about that. And then early in my years of first opening up the perceptual lens to deeper vision with psychedelics back in the 60s, what I saw was how we all have access to, and we're all in the flow of, manifestations of infinite creative energy. And that's how we're made in, quote unquote, made in God's image. The irony is it's not an image, it's an energy. It's infinite creative energy that we all have access to. And so every breath in is bringing us more fuel to activate that creative presence power inside of us. And if we don't meet it consciously, it automatically goes to our unconditionally Tico-infected, malignant egophrenia meanness virtual reality dream that we've created unconsciously, based on the perception of separation. When you have separation, you have anxiety. When you have anxiety, you have fear. And if that fear gets triggered, as it is in so many ways today, then it automatically looks for someone to blame and attack. And if we can get rid of those people, then we'll be okay, which is a lot of the condition of the consciousness in the world today, because we have not been consciously present when the breath comes in and asks us that question of how we want to use the fuel it's giving to us. So what's real? What's reality? Start with our bodies. Start with the physical plane. It's the lowest level of vibration. And if we bring our attention to it, we can sense, we can feel our bodies, which you can do right now. Just let your awareness kind of sink down and flow through your upper body and your hips and down through your thighs and your calves, and just let it flow. Let your awareness flow through your whole body, and just notice what you're experiencing. Just take a moment and notice what you sense and what you feel. What you hear. And with your eyes either open or closed, what you see. Observe what you see. Notice. And notice the basic fact of our lives are dependent on an energy force that we don't create. Our lives are dependent on an energy force we don't create. And if that energy source stops sending that light to us, it's not going to be too much time passing before we pass out and die physically. No mas. So that life force coming into you, just notice it. Notice if you feel it. Notice if you can sense it, if you can even hear it, perhaps even see it. If your eyes are closed, you might be able to see some image formation of the energy flowing into you. And you're experiencing it in the moment, so there's a reality to it. That's the reality your sensory awareness, energy, being, body is experienced, and there's an awareness of what you're experiencing. That's real. That's real. You can count on it. And anything beyond that is a story you create in your mind of a paradigm of belief about reality with the breath that's coming into you from the source of reality and the opportunity to co-create. So when we're consciously there to receive it, we can consciously choose to unplug from the unconsciously conditioned programming that's based on that false perception of separation. We can unplug from that and let it go and open to receive that love's healing flow coming in with the breath, and begin to picture in our minds and begin to focus in our minds in an image of what we'd like to see the world be like, what kind of world we'd like to be living in. A healthy and just and peaceful and beautifully diverse, equal opportunity world for all beings, and healthy and happy. And the more of us that focus sustained quality, high attention energy on that image in whatever way you might see or feel it, based on the kind of world you'd like to be living in, and like your family or future generations to be living in, we can begin to co-create with spirit that reality, quote unquote, in our minds, but it's existing on a level of reality because our minds are awareness are existing on a level of reality, or depending upon who we are, where we are in our growth path, many levels and dimensions at the same time, versus just one tight, constricted one, like Eurocentric culture conditions us into believing is the only way or the best way. So, opportunity of being alive is the opportunity to explore for yourself the role you're co-creating with spirit in the reality you're experiencing of your life. And if it's a painful, suffering one, then you have the opportunity to look closer at what are the thought forms that I'm choosing to use this life energy to put into and believe is so, that, and behaviors that come from that are contributing, maybe contributing to my suffering. And when you see them, you have power to pull the plug, change them, and open up to the next breath, starting anew. And there's my daughter giving me a nonverbal saying, it's time for you to shut your mouth, Dad.
Getting something in my throat.
Okay.
But it does make me think of, I once read somewhere, and then I've told anybody I've worked with that's been on my team or I've been on their team, the tone of an email is set by the recipient. The tone of an email is set by a recipient.
Yeah.
And I thought that was it's so powerful, because oftentimes something comes your way and you, oh my gosh, they're being so rude, and, or they don't like me, or they think I'm dumb. Why would they tell me that? Oh, they must not respect me, whatever it is. Right. And that may just be all our own feelings of the day and not at all what was intended by the sender. So it just makes me think of this conversation of concept of like what's real. And so, of course, that like what what can we choose to believe we receive? But it doesn't just have to be an email. It can be an interaction with someone at the grocery store, in the parking lot, you know, a family member, a friend. So anything you want to add on that thought? If not, I was going to say, let's take us, please, if you could take us into a visualization for the coming week of receiving a communication of some sort, be it an email or an experience of something that feels not good. And you're questioning, is it real? And how that can play into your experience.
Or even if it is, let's say it's not a projection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
let's say the energy that you're accurately perceiving the energy of the person who sent it, who might have been pissed off at you or upset or attacking you or whatever.
That's true too.
So let's work with that. So, because the dynamic applies to either one of those situations, and basically the underlying dynamic is the same, which is the reality of what's coming into me as a physical being is if it's email or if it's audio, it's coming in either through my ears or it's coming through my eyes. Basically, what is it coming in as? It's coming in as energy. It's coming in as raw vibrational wavelengths of energy. Wah, wah. And then it goes to a let's call it the central control room in the operating system within, and then there's all these little guys working in there saying, "Oh my God, look at this energy! Look at this."
Which OSX are you running?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Now when we get to create something, these little guys, so we get to create something here. So that's what this all is. This is raw energy for us to create something. And again, if there's conditioning, let's say software conditioning built into the hardware from our unconscious conditioning by our culture and the experiences of our lives that are going to run automatically in response to that energy is coming in stimuli. So let's say it's accurately perceiving hostility and anger toward me, and then it's going to trigger my reactive response of oh, well, I'm being attacked, so I got to defend myself, and I got to prove I'm right and make the others wrong, and then it just escalates into a more and more separation, lose-lose scenario interaction for everybody, i.e. suffering. Mm-hmm. So being present, consciously present, slowing down. Just slowing down and be present with the breath in the moment of recognizing the energy that's coming into me and what the stimuli, what the energy coming into me is serving as a stimuli. What is it stimulating inside of me? What feelings, what thoughts, what instantaneous appearance of stories running themselves as if they're true. And all of that happens in a billionth of a second. So we didn't choose necessarily an unskillful or response that leads to more suffering. We didn't consciously choose that. It just happened in an instant from our conditioning. But if we're present in the moment, we can notice it with our awareness. Whoa, just got triggered. Look at that. Look that stimuli that just came in of that email and the tone of what that person said and how they said it. Look what it triggered inside of me, this whole production of energetic action, of feelings and images and stories, and wow, just like it's blown up, and here I am experiencing it as in a victim way. I had nothing to do with creating this. It's all happening to me, and that produces more reactivity, fear, anxiety, or insecurity, or whatever. So the key is waking up to our awareness in the moment of being alive, opening up to the energy that's flowing into me, being able to be present. You might say, catch that energy, wave of energy, and how do I want to use it? Make a conscious choice about how you want to use that energy coming into you. And if you'd like, if you're suffering and you don't feel there's much you're kind of in a victim place. And it's pretty easy to be suffering in today's world for a lot of reasons. And it's pretty easy to be feel victim to a lot of things that are happening in the world today, especially innocent people getting women and children and, innocents in Gaza or wherever in the world, and wherever. We just had a little incident with violence of a neighbor next door where the police had to come. So you just never know what's going on. And what you can know is there's energy coming into you. Be present to receive it. Make a conscious choice about how you want to use that energy, and whatever's triggered or stimulated, recognize invitation. Here's an invitation to recognize you're unconsciously, you created a negative framework about what's happening. It's a problem, or it's a difficulty, it's an obstacle, it's a pain in the ass, pisses you off or frightens you. There's a negative orientation to it. It's a problem in some way, and the story backs that up. In fact, the story creates it as a become conscious of it, unplug from it, recognize larger perspective. Whatever your ego perceives as a problem is actually a vehicle of opportunity, to see your stuff, pull the plug, open to create a new flow based on a skillful use of energy, and create an experience of connectedness with the interwoven oneness that was always there and always is here. And that connectedness produces a sense of inner peace. I'm okay. I'm connected with the infinite creative wisdom power, the universe, whose essence, energy is love. And therefore I am love, and I'm loved. And that love's flowing in with every breath, strengthening it, and every breath out, opportunity to let go. So as the challenges come, the stimuli comes for you going forward into the week, whatever way it might come, on an internal plane or an external plane as it comes to you, and it triggers
physical body.
Triggers that a response that produces suffering. Open awareness. There's something going on here. Some way I'm co-creating unconsciously this experience of suffering, and I can't control everything. Of course, we live in a mysterious universe. But let me take skillful responsibility for what I can control, which is making a conscious choice about how to use this energy to wake up. Remember, I'm more than the body that's experiencing, and the emotional being and psychological and mental being who's experiencing whatever they're experiencing with that identity of ego. I'm more than that. I'm more than that. That's not the full extent of reality of who I am. That's a portion of it, yeah. But it's a sideshow compared to the infinite show that we're a part of. Opportunity to wake up, wise and remember who worthy luminous beings worthy of love and respect. And we are loved, and our love is forgiving and receiving and filling ourselves up with, polishing our stardust, so the gifts that we have, the medicine gifts all of us have as sacred beings that are needed in the world, can reach fullest blossoming and greatest good by our sharing the gifts that Spirit gives us, and being alive, and the medicine we carry to help heal the sacred hoop. And in this moment of the challenge of what's perceived initially as a problem, turning it into an opportunity to ask, how can I create a response to the reality of what I'm experiencing in a way that opens the doorway, fullest blossoming, greatest good, por todo, for all. Oh,
Thank you.
Right.
So the question as we for today is, will you accept the invitation to be with what's real in a way that is for your greatest good and fullest blossoming?
May it be so.
May it be so. Have a great week. We want to remind everyone that you can buy Tom's books on his website, drtompinkson.com, and also sign up to keep in touch. Send us an email with any questions ahead of time. And please also make sure that you, if you miss any of these live, go check out the podcast and follow, subscribe. leave a comment, show your love for continuing to show up on these Sunday mornings for you. So thank you for showing up. Together we can be the change. So take care.